Bison Media Zone on WDAY Extra.
And welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Bison Media Zone. We do it each and every Wednesday at 10:35 on WDAY Extra, at least for a few more weeks, till the end of March, and then we'll put a bow on things to get us ready for an upcoming different football season and wrap up the basketball season. We'll chat some Summer League hoops here in just a little bit. It's a busy night. Bison men are in action tonight as they take on South Dakota State. The Jackrabbits basically trying to maybe rescue their season a bit if they can knock off NDSU and put that Summit League race even tighter. We'll update that coming up in just a little bit. But if you missed the start of our Hot Mic program on Wednesday, I mentioned it earlier that the Mountain West Conference was in town over the last couple days, arrived on Monday and got the lay of the land, and then got on campus yesterday for the first time. Gloria Nevarez was there along with Assistant Commissioner John Sullivan to see the Fargo Dome, see NDSU, see the facilities, the shack, you name it. Met with interim president Rick Berg, met with head football coach Tim Polasek to basically introduce themselves. Granted, there have been some interaction, but frankly, not a lot. The consultant set this up, and basically after that, the league called and said, NDSU want to come? Of course, they said yes, and now the pleasantries are out of the way because now it's paperwork, and I believe the word was onboarding is what Gloria Nevarez said yesterday, and getting NDSU assimilated into the league and all of that. So my conversation you're going to hear with the commissioner here in just a minute, we're going to chat on a variety of topics, and we tried to hit everything from scheduling, which can't tell me a whole lot on that, to television revenue, the appeal for NDSU to be immediately eligible for the college football playoff and bowl games. We touched on that. And frankly, we hit on a subject here that we have talked about quite a bit over the last few years, and that is the notion that is going on in some FCS markets now, especially after with Sacramento State's move, that there will be this breakaway. And we've talked about it, that the Power Four is going to go and do its own thing and then leave the group of 6 schools to then potentially add some FCS schools up. And I want you to listen to that answer intently if you're living in Grand Forks, Vermilion, or Brookings this morning, or Bozeman, or Missoula, because I think it's instructional on where she believes things are at. Not me. She is a group of 6 commissioner, so I think she may know exactly where things may be leading. Now, again, and I said it to her, and you'll hear the words, trying to predict anything in this sport is foolish because let alone you can't predict next year, let alone tomorrow, what's going to happen in college football. So that is the precursor here. My full conversation with the Mountain West Commissioner, Gloria Nevarez. What were expectations, and now seeing it in person, what's been the realization of now seeing Fargo and the Fargo Dome, NDSU in person?
Honestly, myself and our other staff members that are here, as we were coming in, we felt like this feels a lot like our other institutions. And in that, the campus, close proximity to the airport, very campus town feel, heavy agricultural presence. It's just very familiar.
Was there anything you were looking necessarily have like a checklist for you? Like, all right, I want to see this, this, and this on your trip?
Definitely wanted to see the football facilities. Myself personally, I had not seen them in person. We had a lot of ADs who had played here and come here over time, and our football guy, but I wanted to see the facilities.
And?
I haven't seen them yet.
Okay, that's coming?
Yes,
Was
this
there
afternoon.
anything specific, I guess, on that in relation to, I want to see what the Fargo Dome, like capacity, just what are your mental checklists you're looking to see?
Yeah, the mental checklist was actually a physical checklist that we went through in the evaluation process. So we went deep in capacity and renovation and facilities. So for me, it's just seeing it all in person and look and feel.
We talked the day, literally like 2 hours after the release came out. So now it's been 10 days. There's been a ton of nationwide attention on this move. Is that even surpassed what you thought expectations-wise when this move happened?
Absolutely. I knew it was going to be a positive thing. We all felt it. We felt the synergy in the match, but the level of national attention, both internal to the industry and externally with our media outlets and partners, has just been overwhelming.
Has that surprised you in terms of how much
national attention has come to the league on this? I mean, it's February, and there's a lot of people talking about Mountain West football right now.
And we're not even in the college football season. Yeah. This kind of started to leak during the Super Bowl, and to still have that kind of pickup was really just fun.
When you're looking here, anything infrastructure-wise that now you see in person that you want to tell NDSU, like, okay, we need you to be at this certain level, or was that discussed long before your boots are on the ground, so to speak?
I don't think we have any markers, so to speak, like that at this point. We just really want a competitive football season, so win, baby, win.
How often have you been asked about a schedule since this has now become official?
How many days has it been? How many
10,
minutes
right?
in the day?
Yeah.
So we're actually on track for our schedule. We typically release mid to late February.
Okay.
Is it done? No. Will it be still on track? Yes.
For your television partners, and I'm not sure how much you can tell me on this, but I'll ask anyway, how much did they know about a potential 10th member? Did they know who the 10th member was going to be?
They did not. We did give them a heads up when we were close to final, but as far as being part of the process, we had already signed our media rights agreements.
Did they know that you were, in terms of expansion, was that, did you say, hey, we're potentially going to add a 10th?
Big picture conceptually, not in the moment specifically.
So is that something now that it's done, will you re-engage with them down the road about another deal now that you have a 10th member, or maybe adding more? Is that on the table or no?
I'd rather not comment on the nature of our media rights and renegotiation triggers.
Okay. For NDSU's appeal, that was something we talked with Matt Larson about. What does the league office do in a situation like this, and what your support is in terms of them being bowl eligible and for the college football playoff?
So we know that there's a 2-year transition window during which they're not eligible for the championship. We have discussed that NDSU will pursue a waiver, and we will be arm in arm, supporting, advocating, whatever we can to help get heard, get approval.
Is that a social media thing? Is that physically like
No,
going to the NCAA? How does that work?
That's more advocacy with the NCAA, writing letters of support. I don't even know what the process entails, if it's a hearing or whatnot, but it's more behind the curtain, I think.
And from what I understand, that doesn't even really begin until NDSU's an active FBS member. Is that accurate?
I don't even know the answer to that.
I think that's what I was told, at least.
Yeah.
Not till June or July when all the paperwork is.
Well, they have an
officially
official
done.
invite, so that
Right.
is step one.
Okay.
But I'm not sure about the rest
I guess
of
when
it.
they make the official transition, I don't know.
Gotcha.
I'll ask Matt probably a little bit more on that. From your brief time here so far, what has maybe surprised you about being here and seeing it in person, either Fargo or NDSU?
I love just, again, it feels so much like our other institutions in that you got that downtown feel, you got the red brick buildings and the ag presence, but also you see the infusion of the college marks and colors in the town and the restaurants and the retail areas. And it just tells you how much this school is part of the town.
How prevalent is that in your other cities?
Quite
in terms
heavily.
of the logos, over that, and your other towns?
Yeah, because a lot of our schools are only show in town, if you think about where they're located and what they are to the communities.
So after this, what's next steps between the league and North Dakota State after today?
Well, to your original question, it's about the schedule. And then we conducted a brief onboarding for the key principals, coach, AD, president. And then we're into our basketball tournament, but we do have a board meeting there. So don't know if calendars, it would be nice for folks to join us and meet their colleagues. And then we'll have another board AD meeting in Phoenix in May or June.
And then Media Day, I imagine, sometime in
Media
July
Day.
in Las Vegas, correct?
Oh, you have to ask Javen, but yes, Vegas, Media Day. I think it's at the Palms Hotel. So
Okay,
ask
I'll have to
Javen.
put that on the old calendar for the boss, let him know about that. The anticipation of, I guess even going into this for the 2026 season, was expansion even on the radar? Was that something, I know we talked a little bit last week, did this not necessarily come out of left field, but you were planning, hey, we've got 9 and we're going to go with 9 in 2026. Was that your thought process for a while?
For the original expansion, when we lost the 5, it was about getting to 8, which is the FBS minimum, getting 9 so that we had a balanced schedule, and then thinking about what that solidified the league. We signed our grant of rights, we had the requisite number of schools. Then we took a strategic look at the future. How do we continue to get stronger? How do we get better? How do we future-proof ourselves. And that's when North Dakota State conversation came back on the radar.
Gloria, everybody has asked twice over about Hawaii, is rightfully so. What can you tell, at least for viewers, listeners, about what the scheduling deal is with Hawaii and how that works for the league, I guess, in the past, and how it's going to work going forward, if you can?
So we've always been an airplane league. We just don't have that concentration of FBS schools in the Western region like they do on the East Coast. And Hawaii's been in the league for some time. As a football-only member, now they're a full member. And so we always try to, and you'll get better clarity from John Sullivan, who's here today, because he actually does the schedule, but we always try to balance out when you go to Hawaii to have a home game on either side of that, the requisite days of rest, and in a non-conference example, not having a long non-conference trip back up against your Hawaii trip. And so some of those are basic travel days of rest parameters we have. But the great thing about having Hawaii in the league is when you play at Hawaii, you get to play in week 0.
So that, as far as you know, that's going to continue as long as there's a week 0 to continue with.
There
right?
have been discussions related to the expansion of the CFP,
Yeah.
because that would
Correct.
create an additional week, and then week 0 might have to go away. But that, until this expansion conversation has a determination, week 0 continues.
I have two last things. There's another conversation now that North Dakota State's been invited that, well, other FCS and obviously Sacramento State made the announcement today that they're moving to the MAC, that this break-off is going to happen with the Power 4 and the Group of 6. You're a Group of 6 commissioner. How do you address those talks? So that's been going on for, at least for me, for 10 years. How do you handle those conversations? And is that something that is a realistic chance of happening?
It's something we think about quite a bit. Right now, we have an ESPN agreement through 32 through the CFP. So I think we'll see some stability, and other conference media deals terminate around that same time. There could be another reshuffling in the media rights market come 32 or a year before that. But as a Group of 6, our goal is we are part of the FBS, and we play football together. And I think if there was a breakoff, we would work to be part of whatever the new entity is because of the FBS nature of football. And, all signals have been that that's something that would be on the table.
But it's impossible to predict anything in this sport,
100%,
right? I mean,
yes.
even to ask what would happen 12 months from now is folly, right? Is that
Or
the best way to say it?
Yeah.
Lastly, how much is today, not necessarily maybe, I'll ask you, is it a victory tour both for the league and North Dakota State? This is a new partnership that just was formed 2 weeks ago that we're really ready to celebrate and pardon the phrase, spike the football on this one today.
Yeah, we just got a nice football with the Mountain West logo and the Bison. No, but to your point, for us, it's really important to develop the relationships and to come out here in person. 90% of conference office work is done out on our campuses. Nobody comes to the conference office to watch games or to hang out, maybe meet, and they're never really excited about that. So getting out is really important to us, and we're going to be working together closely. We wanted to see and meet folks, and so the building the relationships, because this is a partnership. Yeah. This isn't just a transactional, hey, we needed a team. This is, look, you're part of the fabric of who we are, and you're going to help make us better. Let's go.
How often do you travel for games? Are you at a different game every week? How does that work for you and your schedule?
Typically, I try to get to every campus once or twice, either through football or basketball, and then all of our championships at least once every 2 to 3 years. So that pretty much books up most of the weeks in the season.
But you're planning a trip, I would imagine, sometime for Fargo?
Oh,
on
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And maybe if you all play Hawaii, who knows?
All right, we'll put that out.
Now, no guarantee on that. My commissioner with Gloria Nevarez yesterday. Couple tidbits out of this that I wrote down, re-listening to it after going through it yesterday. The win, baby, win comment really stuck with me. I think they're counting on NDSU to come into this conference and immediately be successful. Just hearing what she said yesterday, that they believe that North Dakota State is positioned to do well. I don't know how that's going to reflect with the other members, especially the returners like a UNLV and a Hawaii and New Mexico were all really good a season ago. That is really interesting. You get a general excitement, and the commissioner is supposed to be. I think you got a general excitement about that they are pumped up to have North Dakota State here. in terms of the schedule part, we'll dive more into this tomorrow on Hot Mic with John Sullivan, the assistant commissioner for the league who handles football and scheduling and how this all goes about. For you nerds out there like myself that love that, stay tuned for that conversation. That's pretty darn cool. We'll have that on Hot Mic on Thursday's show. One thing we didn't get into, I did ask her afterwards on the record, was on bowl tie-ins, because we discussed this when the announcement was about to be made about what the Mountain West had partnerships with, and she said that they're looking basically for a one-year agreement with bowl games, knowing that the CFP is likely to expand in 2027. I know we thought that for this year, but obviously they said, well, the Big Ten and the SEC couldn't come to terms, so they're staying at 12. So the LA Bowl, we know, was shuttered. The LA Bowl took Boise State last year as the top Mountain West team. Stands to reason that maybe SoFi wants to get back in business and have a bowl game there. We'll see. But they have tie-ins there. They have a tie-in in Albuquerque, the New Mexico Bowl. They have a tie-in in Boise with the Potato Bowl. And they have a tie-in in Tucson with the Arizona Bowl. That's the one that Fresno State won, where Matt Entz was hanging out with Snoop Dogg. Another statement I never thought I'd say. And then they obviously have a tie-in in Frisco with the Frisco Bowl. That's where UNLV went. So there are opportunities here. If the Bison have their appeal denied, again, if there's not enough teams to fill out the bowl games and NDSU is 1-6, then they would be potentially eligible to be selected for one of those games. And then there's the other ones. New Mexico went to the guaranteed rate game only because Iowa State dropped out. Now, that very well could happen again, but those are the bowl tie-ins, and they're in negotiations as well about re-upping with the ones they have and potentially going to new ones. So that's, again, these are all stories that, frankly, we never had to worry about or cover before. That, to me, that's exciting now that we're on that wavelength, that scheduling-wise, all those topics that we've kind of danced around with college football, now it affects us wholeheartedly in terms of what we cover here on a day-to-day basis. So appreciate the Mountain West making Gloria available. That was great stuff, and we'll podcast that as well if you missed any of our conversation there. Much more from the Mountain West on Hot Mic coming up tomorrow. We'll break. We come back. We'll get you ready for a big basketball night in the Summit League. The Bison men have a date with South Dakota State. We'll preview that one. Hot Mic returns right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Bison Media Zone. Just a few minutes left before we wrap things up on this Wednesday. You look at the up-to-date standings on the Summit League men's side tonight. Top-ranked North Dakota State has got a road game with, hard to believe, 7th place South Dakota State. St. Thomas, we mentioned, as the mini-bye. They've got a big one at Denver coming up on Saturday. Fighting Hawks sitting in 3rd. Host Kansas City coming up tomorrow. And then have the Jackrabbits on Saturday. On this Bison Jackrabbit game, first time they met back in mid-January here in Fargo. North Dakota State beat South Dakota State. 76-65 was the final. Jaden Jackson had 16 points to pace SDSU. Really good player. That's the guy to keep an eye out for tonight in this matchup between these two teams that, you know, they're going to badly want to get this one, especially considering how their season has gone. They still have a road trip to go to Vermilion as well, that they're aiming, frankly, to try and get as high as they can, are the Jackrabbits. Joe Seiler had 12. He was held in check. Seiler was really good. Morris had 10. Damon Wilkinson, their big guy, number 34, had 10 points. I'm really interested to see how they respond tonight, knowing full well that they've got the Bison in their place. It's going to be packed. It's going to be loud. How NDSU responds. Trayson Anderson was the guy against the Jackrabbits when they played in Fargo. He had 4 3-pointers in that win against South Dakota State back in January. He had 20 points. He's been, I would say, muted over the last little bit. Strickland was great on the game Saturday against UND. Travion Carson, who was really good against the Jacks, had 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. That's a normal night for Travion Carson. Really, and Strickland was good. Andy Stefanowicz was solid, and Stefanowicz was great against UND. So we'll see what happens in the game coming up tonight. Full highlights of that on Hot Mic coming up tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Summit League women's standings, NDSU still sits unbeaten on top of the league table with a 2-game lead over USD and South Dakota State. The Bison have St. Thomas tomorrow, and then at South Dakota on Saturday. One breaking news note, Avery Kunin now a semifinalist for the Becky Hammond Mid-Major Award. Pretty good stuff there for the Bison Junior standout. That'll wrap up this week's edition of the Bison Media Zone. We do it each and every Wednesday at 10:35. Our thanks to Gloria Nevarez for joining us there. We're back next Wednesday. We'll see you then.